Good evening, Sri Lanka. We have a very, very special guest with us tonight. You would have heard about him asking for $1, saying that he needs $1. At the same time, he wants you to wake him up at the correct time, just like that. And he is in the studio with us. He's in Sri Lanka. He's going to explore opportunities in business. At the same time, spread his message of love as well. The one and only Mr. Aloe Blacc. Good evening to you.
Good evening. How you doing?
Not bad at all. So tell us, we will start with your music itself. What inspires you most when it comes to music, when you write your songs, when you think about collaboration? Where does your inspiration come from?
I'm inspired by everyday life. I tell stories about the common individual, and I want to humanize their existence and their experience, you know. In a song like Wake Me Up, I'm talking about nostalgia for the past and hope for the future. In a song like I Need $1, I'm talking about the struggles of the common person who is trying to make it, you know, through the day. And in a song like The Man, it's about motivation. I want to write songs that can inspire people to be the best that they can be.
Absolutely. Now, you've worked with some big names. Avicii is big in Sri Lanka. Your song Wake Me Up is a huge hit. You go to any street corner shop even and say, this is the song, everybody knows that song. So how do you strike up collaborations with that? What do you look for when you think of a collaboration and collaborating with a particular artist?
You know, collaborations come in many different forms. Sometimes I'm reaching out to the artist, sometimes they're reaching out to me, and sometimes it's just the infrastructure around us, our managers having conversations and putting us together. What I'm looking for is an artist that is at the top of their class. Somebody that really truly believes in the music that they make and the reason why they make music, have a lot of intention, and have a message to share. You know, I try to share a message of positivity, of inspiration, of motivation, and I want to find artists that have a voice and also have a perspective.
Absolutely, that's absolutely inspirational. What we want to know is, what brings you to Sri Lanka? Why Sri Lanka? How did that whole thing come up?
Well, you know, Sri Lanka is the homeland of my new friend, Dr. 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗢𝗪. Back during the pandemic, I had COVID, but I had been vaccinated and boosted. And I was really, really upset that the mRNA technology was not keeping me from getting sick. So I was looking for a prophylactic, something that could stop the virus. And I started reading all the scientific papers, and the one that made the most sense to me was the one that Dr. 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗢𝗪 had written about his molecular mask technology. And that's where he's using synthetic peptides to block the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein from attaching to the ACE2 receptor. It's a lot of scientific language just to say that his technology works. I sponsored some research and I became a believer. Not only a believer, I became a friend. And every time I would visit Mr. 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗪𝗢𝗪, he would share so much about the culture and about this country, and I knew I had to visit. So this was a perfect opportunity to come and learn more and see what the opportunities are here from a research and development perspective.
You know what I feel? There's a lot of depth into you, not just the music. I mean, the soulful voice, the lyrics to everything, but what you explained about how you developed your relationship with the doctor as well, and your interest in peptides and how it came about. So I'm sure when you decide on venturing out into a particular business or venturing out into a certain country, also there are certain factors that you consider. So what are the factors that you consider when you thought about doing some business with Sri Lanka?
The business factors that matter to me are whether or not it's a sound investment, because I'm looking out for my family and what's possible for the future, but does this sound investment also have a double bottom line? It's not just about money, it's about progress, it's about community, it's about people. How does this help the people? Is everybody involved in a win-win situation? And so the sectors that I look at are, you know, sectors like health. Health is one of those industries where it's supposed to be a win-win. The customer should be getting better, and the provider should be earning an income. And so, you know, Sri Lanka has it's given me this opportunity to see what are the sectors. I've come here and met with some of the manufacturers in the agricultural industry, and I see, there's opportunity here because this island has got so much organic produce, and not just organic produce, high quality, medicinal value organic produce, and not just high quality medicinal value organic produce, high quality taste as well. So when you're comparing, what the produce here is to produce around the world, Sri Lanka is gold standard, and I want to be part of that story.
Absolutely, and along with those high quality produce goes high quality doctors and medical professionals as well, who would love to team up with you if you have a venture like that. Are you interested in tourism as well? Because Sri Lanka, one of the best industries to invest when it comes to Sri Lanka is tourism. Is that an area that you're thinking about as well?
Absolutely. So when I'm looking at all the possibilities and opportunities that are here, what comes to mind obviously is music. Will I have an opportunity to perform in Sri Lanka? And so I understand that it's not very often that Western artists are coming to perform here, but I think that there's a possibility of building an infrastructure, a platform that will allow for Western artists to come and perform in Sri Lanka more often, but not just as an extractive process of earning an income for the artist and leaving, but as a mutually beneficial opportunity to draw money from China, money from India, and by way of tourism. People who want to come and see these artists will come to watch the concert, but spend money on hotels, spend money at the restaurant, and this way it is, again, a virtuous cycle, mutual beneficial between the customer and the provider.
Absolutely. Sri Lanka, now especially Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, is a national television station, and most of our viewers are very sensitive to culture and things like that as well. And you seem like a gentleman. When I listen to your songs as well, there's a lot of depth, like I said. How sensitive are you to culture, and how do you bring about the conduit between culture and business and entertainment to bring about what you propose as a product?
Well, I think that it's important for government to recognize the necessity of preserving culture. My wife is from Australia, and she was in radio. That's how we met. She interviewed me, and she says that in radio in Australia, it's important for the national radio stations to play 50% Australian music, then they can play 50% of music international. And it's something that, in doing business with Sri Lanka, I will keep in mind, to always have that aspect of Sri Lankan culture as part of the service that is happening. So if you have Westerners who are coming to perform, well, they may be the headline, but who's opening? Are we giving an opportunity for new artists? And by that same token, are we finding ways and being intentional in finding ways to help translate the Sri Lankan artists, new Sri Lankan artists, to the stage in the West? And I think that's really important. So I keep that certainly at the top of mind.
Absolutely. Now, I was listening to the news when you were on air there. You said that you've been listening to local radio stations and so on, just to get a feel of what kind of music we play in English radio stations as well. What did you gather from that? Do you feel that Western musicians from America, from Europe, have a market here, and what kind of market do you feel there is?
I definitely feel it. I can hear that there's the pop music that's coming from the West that is available on the radio here. And I think just by virtue of knowing that Wake Me Up was so popular, and I hear about concerts that happened in the past with Jason Derulo and with Sean Paul. So I know that there's an opportunity for Western music, of course.
Absolutely. So the entertainment in scene in Sri Lanka has been growing over the past few years. Even in the post-pandemic era, Sri Lanka has been growing a lot in the entertainment industry. And as an entertainer, we would like to express to you as well, you are in the correct place. There are a lot of budding entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka as well. Something that I always wonder is, how do you do business at the same time do music as well? You get booked out for concerts, at the same time you have business meetings. How do you juggle the two and find the time to do both?
Yeah, it's a very delicate balance, but it's the way that I choose to operate. You know, a lot of my peers just do the art. I think that it's important to do the art plus the business, because I want to be able to communicate something more than just about myself or my creativity. There's you know, an opportunity for so much more. And in the music business, I've looked at my peers. I've seen some of them do music and business really well, but certainly some of the predecessors who've done it really well. And I want to follow in their footsteps. So going out to do a concert is one thing, but it's also just a moment to also think, okay, how much more can I maximize this opportunity? Who can I also bring value to? And where can we share in growth together?
Absolutely. Are you a Quincy Jones, Motown kind of guy, or?
Man, you must have picked up on what I was saying, because Quincy Jones is one of the heroes who not only did music at the highest level, but also did business in multiple industries at the highest level. So yeah, I'm certainly a Quincy Jones fan. Rest in peace to the great.
Absolutely. When you listen to "I Need $1," you get a little feel of Quincy there.
Absolutely.
As well.
There's a feel of Quincy. There's some of the old school soul music that I studied and I learned from when I was working on my album called Good Things.
Excellent. So you would say you are a soul music kind of guy predominantly? Definitely
soul music. I think I spent a lot of time listening to hip hop, so I grew up with that energy, and I was a hip hop artist before I started singing. Some pop music for sure, and even a little bit of the country side of things.
Right.
You know.
From that to Avicii, that's a stark difference right there. How did that come about?
It's a huge difference, and it was mainly because of the soul music. You know, Avicii, he was making hit songs, and in some of his hit songs, he was sampling from old soul music. "I Need $1" was such a hit that it communicated to him that he could use my voice. He didn't have to sample from an old soul artist, he could sample from a new soul artist. And so we worked together on a few songs. Eventually, we went in the studio and worked on Wake Me Up. Had no idea what was going to happen, performed it for the first time in front of tens of thousands of people, and they were not sure how to receive it. But in a few months' time, the song was moving up the charts and became one of the biggest songs of all time.
The biggest songs of all time, for sure. We're going to make you sing a song in just a little bit, but before that, I would like to, you've been here for a couple of days now, and you've done your homework before you came. You seem that kind of guy who do your homework before a visit. For other international artists who might be watching, who might just discover this interview on YouTube maybe, how would you invite them to invest in Sri Lanka? What did you see that you think they should explore in Sri Lanka as well?
I think that Sri Lanka is not just a place you come to do one show and leave. I think Sri Lanka is a place where you probably come, spend some time, maybe a week, and engage in the tourism, go to a resort, make sure you see some of the big historic sites, and partake in the local cuisine and restaurants, and then share your music, you know, have a performance. Of course, coming from the United States, the time difference is huge. So it just makes sense that you come and spend more time, acclimate, and then give the best performance that you can. But in that time, you get the chance to engage with the local.
Absolutely. It's been an honor and privilege to speak to you as well. It's going to be all over now, but I'm going to ask you to wake me up before it's all over. Maybe sing a little bit of it, a couple of lines.
So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself and I didn't know I was lost.
Well, you sure aren't lost. You are in the right place. You are in the Paradise Island. Aloe Blacc, it has been a pleasure and privilege. Thank you so much for spending your time with us as well. And thank you for watching. I'm pretty sure that you've learned so much about Aloe Blacc. And when he comes back for that concert, I'm going to invite you on behalf of Sri Lanka to come here to perform and have a concert. And all of us, we are going to be at that concert. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.